Now with Elation being started for a little while, I wanted to make a video talking about what I do think about it so far, what I like, what I don't like, and also some info that isn't necessarily confirmed. It is more info circulating the internet, so some spoiler warning ahead. But yeah, let's just hop into the discussion. Stuck grinding in Honkai Star Rail? Need Stellar Jades fast? We've got you covered. Head over to U7 Buy, your ultimate gaming hub for save fast and cheap in-game top-ups. Whether it's Star Rail or your other favorite games, U7 delivers instantly and players love it. Check out their Trustpilot reviews, they're actually top ranked. On the Honkai Star Rail direct top-up page, you can recharge your account in seconds. For example, 8080 Ononeric shards cost $99.99 in the official store, but on U7 Buy, you can see here it's way cheaper. Just pick your server, enter UID, pay securely, and boom, your account is instantly loaded. Want extra savings? Use code PRETSR at checkout for 5% off, perfect for last minute pulls, battle passes, or surprising a friend. And here's a bonus. If you spend $80 a month on U7 Buy, you can grab the Honkai Star Rail Express Pass for only 1 cent, which is nearly free. Click on the link in my description, recharge fast, save more, and keep blazing those trails. So mainly we're going to be gauging it from the perspective of having Yagwang and Sparxie, as we have had 2 characters. Originally leading up to Elation, I was very hyped as it kind of was a glorified follow-up attack. Of course, it's not nearly as output heavy just like follow-up attacks, because follow-up attacks you'll get like a follow-up attack every hit and you see it way more because that's just how it works. That's why it is mainly just a glorified version. It's something that you get an extra of, so you're attacking more often than not. The Elation skill and stuff was a very cool concept, but with what we do know that is coming up, I think I am relatively more on the disappointed side. But again, let's first talk about what is actually in the game first. So the shaky release, of course, kind of didn't help it, with Yagwang being a support and then being unable to be used in most teams, just because Sparxie wasn't out, and then once Sparxie was out, then you finally had a team for her. Of course, it was different for me since I did have my E6 Yagwang, so mine was the DPS, and that's what I was mainly doing. Of course, also using her as support in some other teams where she kind of does work, it's still just really not that great. So yeah, once Sparxie did release, having the proper team, I didn't pull Sparxie, but I have tested her an immense amount, so I actually have my opinions. Everything did play together on how I did expect. The Elation skill and such is really fun. I think the whole thing about it being so brain rot-y and stuff, and just like really stimulating, whatever people have been saying, I think that people have just been over exaggerating. It's really not that bad. But yeah, other than that, it actually has been fun seeing the numbers fly, seeing the damage be really good. Of course, it being a new path, it does already kind of have the light cone problem, not really, but the light cone jumps, of course, for both Sparxie and especially Yagwang are big, and that's probably going to stay like that. Happened with Remembrance, it's probably going to happen again, especially with the upcoming Herda Shop light cone not really seeming to be that good. But the team, when it comes to strength wise, actually has been performing well. That is what I'm glad about. With Yagwang and Sparxie together, and then having the existing character Sparkle after her buff especially, last slot being sustained either Popo or Donhang, or sustainless, whatever, Cypher, Tribute, whatever you got. The team has been performing good. It can very low cycle the current MLC and stuff. Of course, Sparxie boss is in there, and same thing with Anomaly when it comes to the King in check. So the shield boss is a little much, but even without shield boss, like on the Liga side, the Elation team still does thankfully function pretty good. And the team, of course, is not actually complete. Yagwang is a support, so she's doing her role. Sparxie is able to be used as a main DPS, but her role in the future is a sub DPS. And even despite that, she is performing good. So while that's also good, it's also scary, because once there's an actual proper main DPS that is going to be fully coded to be a main DPS, so when the actual 4.2 update comes out, we get Silverwolf and also Evanescea, 2 different teams. Both of them are most likely going to be a main DPS. We've seen the strengths that happened with these anniversary characters. We had Akron, we had Castris. Well, Castris was a little unique because she released strong, but she wasn't like super broken until we got Hyacinth in the patch later. Right now, off the gate, we're gonna have Sparxie for probably Silverwolf, and then Yagwang for Evanescea. Considering what they can do for their respective Elation teams, Sparxie with their whole punchline gen and also having good damage contribution, and then Yagwang having really good buffs for the Elation characters, plus the force proc Aha instant. You can really imagine how strong the team is going to become. My guess is it's probably going to be stronger than the Remembrance team, you know, kind of just like how the game's formula is. The new shield teams that is going to get entirety of updates of new characters and such throughout the 4.x update is indeed going to be better than the one that had it last. That's just how the game does it. So seeing how strong the team is already is nice, but also kind of scary, but we'll have to see until we obviously get it. But other than that, what we do have so far, I am happy with it when it comes to how fun it is, but at the same time, I am disappointed with what we do know. So now we're going to touch upon mainly unconfirmed stuff going forward. So if you don't want any spoilers, that's practically it for the video for here, but I'm going to talk about more unconfirmed info now. Well, not fully unconfirmed info, just like how you can kind of expect from what we are getting. One of my biggest problems with Elation is just the whole actual path lock. I know it happened with the Remembrance, it happened with Elation too. I'm not necessarily against full path lock, but at the same time, it is just like, I don't know, to me, team building is one of the most fun parts of the game, and running some wacky teams. Of course, depending on investment, it's different. If you're high invested, of course you can do it just like how I can, but most people aren't going to be able to do that. And I don't really like how all these Elation characters are meant to be working with each other while having significantly less impact outside of their teams. Like Yaguang as a support outside of Elation is going to be complete utter whatever. sparxie as a main DPS without Yaguang and other Elation characters gets a big drop off. Probably going to be the same thing for any Elation character going forward, as they're just going to function off that. And then there's also the whole increasing instant speed with Elation characters exclusively, so that's also going to be a problem. Running them on non-Elation teams is in fact always going to be a nerf, and I find that really boring. Another thing is just how one of the biggest sources of damage increases being damage percent doesn't impact Elation. That removes so many different buffers in the game, and also stuff like attack doesn't impact it either unless they have a specific conversion trace like sparxie, which also isn't really impactful after a certain amount. And then of course the elemental orbs themselves doing next to nothing is also just sad. Damage dealt supports like Sunday lose synergy entirely when something like his energy would be insane for someone like Yaguang if you played it differently, and even sparxie just to get her ultimate more, but a lot of his buffs are damage percent, and that is completely wasted. I am not a fan of that. I find it really boring. My personal wish for Elation was that they kind of went a route where there was like an Elation dot, an Elation follow-up, Elation hypercarry. Like, you guys have commented this before, and I agree, this is how I thought about it in the beginning as well. A character that gains punchline off dots procced, maybe. Like a certain amount of dots procced gives you Elation, and then they have the ability to buff dot teams outside of just, you know, pure Elation. For follow-up teams, every follow-up amount gives you amount of punchline. Activate their Elation skill eventually to have them do really good damage and just support follow-ups in general, and actually be pretty substantial to the team. But with what we are getting, it is very, very certain and practically like 99% confirmed that it's just going to be a pure mono Elation team. Maybe one character won't be Elation as like the sustain slot, and that's really it. It's practically just entirely mono path again, and I do personally find that pretty boring. The team maybe will have some functioning without their full Elation teams, but especially with how Elation works, it's going to receive such big drop-offs. Like again, look at sparxie without Yaguang, usable, but is a significant drop-off. And I think they could have done so much more with Elation if they, instead of going the mono element path, could have done something that benefited a variety of teams, because I feel like Elation is literally the best thing to do that. It's about being fuck it, let me do everything else. Like ha ha ha, funny. So you can have one for dog, one for follow-up, one for hypercarry, one for general support, one for weird sustain. Like there's so many options you could have done, but they decided to be like, yeah, let's mono path it again. Like it's just so boring to me. Like, and I'm saying this as again someone who has E6 Yaguang. I E6 her because I love Yaguang. I don't really care that she's Elation. Honestly, I would have preferred if she was Harmony and had better buffs outside of Elation, but you know, we can't always have that. But yeah, I just genuinely don't like it, and I wish they could have went that route instead. It being a whole monopath again is just going to be relatively lame. So really all Elation that has come to it for me is going to be either collection or just how to get my Yaguang to do more damage. That's really it to me. So while it is fun to use, I just personally don't like the path. Route, at least. I don't like the path route. I like using the team, it is fun, but I'd rather have them gone the other way where it was more universal. And then this is just a personal gripe. You might not like care about this, but there is info circulating the internet that the entire team is going to be entirely a girls flagship again. I don't know what their problem is with only having these new pets always be girls. Like entirety of Remembrance, we still don't have a male Remembrance. Like usually I don't care about this in games because I don't gotta think about it, but for some reason this game is just doing that. I don't know, I just find that cringe. Like I know people do like waifu only and that's good for them, so maybe for them it's like different, but like I just think the team should just have both. I don't really see why it has to be knocked to like only girls on the team. It feels like they really are trying to push that perspective that hey, guys don't sell, let's make a girls only thing for the new path, and then the next path we get in 5.x is going to be only girls or some bullshit. I don't know, of course that might change later, but that's just info circulating the internet saying that there's just not going to be a singular guy on that team. I don't know what their problem is. They make a guy character, they don't market him well, give him a wacky kit that was kind of like somewhat gutted but like still works in his way, say hey, pull him for the future, and then they say like yeah guys, he doesn't sell. Like of course you're not marketing him like you did with Finon, you're not making him as cool as you did with Finon. Like look, if you market a character like Finon, you get crazy pulls because wow, it's like the character is relevant to people's accounts. People are not going to look at it and be like wow, this is a waste of pulls when I can just pull like, you know, said girl flagship and benefit more. I don't know, that's just like a personal little rant there. That's just an extra part I found stupid about Elation and just monopaths in general. You know, fuck monopaths, bro. Anyway, that is a video. You can tell that I do have pretty big gripes with it. I'm not a fan of the direction of Elation. While I do find it fun, it's just a path that is going away I don't like. It's going to be a mono path again. It's going to be locked to, you know, just girls again, but that's just like a me personal gripe. Maybe you agree. I don't know. Everyone's different. But yeah, again, I like the team. It's fun, but I just wish they did more with it and made it a more fun path that can benefit a variety of team playstyles, because I feel like Elation is the path that can do it and go on multiple teams rather than locking it to each other and doing another boring mono path. It's the same thing with Mono Remembrance technically. Like, I love Remembrance. I love all the characters on the team. I like the team itself. Blowing stuff up is fun. Would I have preferred they had a lot more team variety? Of course, who wouldn't? But yeah, that's kind of how I do think about Elation. Once again, it's fun. It's cool that they have all this unique stuff, but I just wish they went a better route. But unfortunately, it looks like we're just going to be getting this mono team again. Comment down below what you think about Elation 2. If you found this video enjoyable to watch, dropping a like would be greatly appreciated. If you're new to the channel or haven't done so already, be sure to subscribe and turn on the bell icon for future videos like this, along with all the types of style content. And I'll see you later. Peace out.